Facetizers, what's going on? It's your boy DeMarcus with another episode of the Life of a Multifacet. Hopefully everybody's good. Hopefully life is being able to move forward for you in some type of way. If it's not, definitely try to figure out what are the small things you can do to be able to turn that around. You feel me? But today, I wanted to talk about as far as like a multifaceted, I guess you could say, or finding a different avenue. I wanted to talk about like what got me into doing security work or picking it up. Maybe I can even talk about like picking up just different types of things in the meantime to like make money and stuff like that. But for those that may not know, I've been unfortunately was laid off about a year and some change ago, and within the process of layoffs, like we've been in a time where the markets are just like crazy. Like when you think about as far as like when it comes to people having jobs, losing jobs, going through that whole 9 yards, like it's a lot worse than what the media tries to portray. And I found myself being in the market a lot longer than I'd anticipated. Like, I mean, I'm talking about like going full throttle in interviews, doing extra plans, creating 30, 60, 90-day plans, getting to final round interviews, getting ghosted. Like I've never experienced this at all with the process. And to the point to where like, some people may get hired, but and they'll try to make it seem as if like, oh, the market is fine and dandy, but people are taking like lower tier jobs, they're getting paid less, they're not feeling fulfilled at work. Some people are starting jobs and then, immediately just being like, man, it was better off just being where I was. Like we just live in crazy type of times. And for me, I'm a person where I don't like when certain folks try to make it seem as if like everything's just kosher. It's like, okay, yeah, you got a job or yeah, you was able to figure some things out, but like be realistic. Like, you know how this stuff is going and what it looks like. But like oftentimes some people are just so focused on what it looks like to um to have something going on that it's almost in a sense kind of forgetting where you come from. It's like, all right, bro, like let's be real, like, But aside from that, for me, a big thing that I made sure that I did during this go around of not having work was to focus on me in a deeper type of way. And a big thing that I did, as I've told y'all many, many, many times, is I really leaned in on my multifacets. And something things that I've done from a daily standpoint is, one, I'll start off with prayer has been a big thing. So it's not a multifaceted, but prayer is something that just helps me to um, just talk about life, being able to speak with God, just about like where I'm at and just where I'm going, and just just being able just to have conversations out loud, but more so me being able just to tap into my spirituality. And so I think that that's important for everyone, depending on whatever type of higher power that you believe in. But like being able to just tap into your spiritual nature is important. But aside from that, as far as multifacets, like podcasting, this has been dope for me because, like I said, I only have, I think, maybe 3 followers at this point, but I get a chance to create a platform and just being able to talk about my life. That's why I named it Life of a Multifacet. Just being able to share parts of me that um, some people know about, but it's an extended version for how people may kind of just see me from social media and in the real world. Like have a very vibrant type of personality. I'm someone that's I express myself on a high level, and I'm someone that just loves to bring energy to different environments. And oftentimes people can see that and they can feel that, but I think it's great to be able to allow people to hear that. And then again, the ones that truly tap in with me, like this isn't nothing new. This is almost like maybe like an extension, but also sometimes like even with people that may know you, um, you may not get to every single detail. So this is like another extension of that. But so yeah, for the podcast, I just wanted to be able to talk about like myself and just share different perspectives on life and just different experiences. So I'm loving this. Shout out to again to my guy Coach Drew Cost that really gave me the bump forward. And when we think about just life, oftentimes, especially for us folks that are multifacets, that are usually ahead of the curve, you can be emotionally intelligent, self-aware. Like you can already know all these different things, but sometimes when you want to do so many different things, when you have so many ideas to expand, you can often forget how simple it is to do certain things in life that don't take as much effort. And I've known about um, podcast. I wanted to do it for a minute. I've had the idea of it, and but I'm someone that can overthink and try to do too much in my head and not make it simple. Man, I was like, this dude is such a dope guy. You know, he's always showing love and stuff to my content, and I just seen how he was interacting with people on social media. So I said, man, let me take his course, and it was I think like $30, and I said, man, I get to support a brother. And this is also someone where he's been showing over time that he's, for in the few months that we had known each other a while back on social media, he's showing that it's more than just him trying to sell something. Like he's actually just trying to help people out. And so by doing that, he made it super simple. And it was like, DeMarcus, why are you not doing this? So got to the point where I did started doing a podcast. I've been journaling more than ever, which that's super great and therapeutic for myself. I've continued to cook. And for those that know, like obviously cooking for me was a hobby for a long period of time. Yeah, I did sell plates and stuff like that when I was in college, and I did do some meal prep selling back home. But like for me, as far as like in this past year and some change of being laid off, it allowed me to really find the love for cooking in a way where I was able to have time and I was able to really find ways to up level my skills. So before, when I was doing my mashups, for those that don't know, oftentimes, like I would say before the past couple of years, everything that I was doing was on the fly. So everything I hadn't made before, I didn't know how to make. Like it was just me kind of going based off memory, me seeing certain stuff, and me just kind of like doing trial by error. But a lot of times for those mashups, um, that was my first try at doing it. And I just made it look good. So the big thing for me is I knew that I could get my flavor together. And so a big part of my brand was working on like my presentation, working on my presentation as far as for this go around. So, um, but being laid off, like it allowed me to be able to really hone in more on the creative part of the food brand and me being able just to love the process of like messing up and doing it again over and over, or me being able to create different types of foods and desserts. Like it allowed me to feel empowered within that. And I've been able to go through different iterations of cookies, of pastas, of different types of meats and all that, and it allowed me to really find a excitement to want to take it to a business level. So that was dope. Um, One thing that I did start but didn't finish to learn is like juggling. I have a Lego set over here that I still haven't put time into yet. Um, I've been focusing on making beats. Like I got so many beats on my computer. That's been a big one. Honestly, the beats is probably what allowed everything else to open up because I started doing that in 2019, and then I found a consistent pattern with that. And so, especially when I got laid off, like that allowed me to open up a zone that made me feel free. Like it allowed me to really feel like relieved. It allowed me to feel like I can create something within my mind, but it gave me a feeling. Because when you hear sounds, like sounds open up vibrations in your mind and your spirit that just it can change your mood. And so that was one that really helped me to elevate and just me being able just to find clarity and happiness and just a electric type of feeling and a calmness within my mood. So really shout out to the beats for really bringing in everything full throttle. Um, what are some other things that I've done? Making my own lotions, like making like that was dope. Like just learning that, making my own candles. Like these are things that I was able to do for myself. Um, Learning different things of different types of like body oils and stuff to like make my skin feel better and make my skin smell nicer. There's some other things that I haven't mentioned as well too, but that's more so of the hobby wise. As far as work wise, like I was able to do for the first time. I've done like what two vendor events, and hell, for my first vendor event, I sold out both days. For my second vendor event, I mean, I made a lot of sales, so that was my first time really doing it to that level. And I had to use a mashing up with Marco poster that I created using my logo. And the dope thing is too, I have an idea that I'll share with y'all later. But the dessert brand is going to have its own name and everything. And mashing up with Marco is just going to be like teaching people about like cooking. Fuck, I almost stuttered there. I said cooking. I almost stuttered like a mug because I was talking so fast. But mashing it with Marco is going to be able to show people about like cooking, food tutorials, and all that. Kind of like the overseer of the other parts of the brand. But yeah, that was something I tapped into. I said, this year is about us being dauntless. So I went to a culinary creatives conference last year. I said, man, let me start putting myself out there. And obviously, people are like, Marcus, you should be out in the parks and everything. And I'm like, yep, you're right. You are exactly right. But I'm creating an ecosystem and I've been building and brainstorming, and that is coming. That's definitely coming. But let's talk about what I have done. So the first event that I did was the Malik Yoba Foundation. Malik Yoba, he has a Yoba Development Project Foundation called Flipping the Hood, and it was an event to be able to allow people to come together and have curated conversations about rebuilding and expanding on um, diverse communities and being able to find ways on expanding those. And for all the vendors that were there, you got a chance to show up and be a vendor for free. So obviously, for those that may not know, there are vendor fees that come along with events, but for that one it was free. And so that was the first time like I've really done an event like that. Like, that was really like my first, I could say like my first true vendor event. Um, like I've done a cooking class before from my past university. I am an alumni of the University of Louisville and had did a cooking class with them some years ago. But again, this is the time where it was really hobby wise for me. So while it was exciting, I didn't really feel the joy in which I feel now. But um, going through that yoga development, flipping the hood activation, man, like that just brought stuff together in such a dope way. And shout out to my girl Nakisha for like reaching out to me about this, because one, I was like, I didn't have like I didn't have any type of flyers. I didn't even have a banner or nothing like that. But I'm someone that can work really good on just like last minute type stuff. And so I said, you know what? I don't really know what this is going to look like, but I said, with this type of event, I'd be doing myself a disservice without just trying it. And so what I did was that I looked online, Chat GPT'd it, Google searched it, and just trying to figure out the best ways to get like an effective banner. I already had like a decent logo that I had made off Canva. And then I said, man, let me go ahead and just go to FedEx and get a poster created. Got a nice poster, looked dope as heck. I got that together. Then I looked on Amazon and got some different types of cups and stuff for the presentation. Um, and these are things that I've thought about in the past that people have mentioned to me. But again, when you're looking to build a brand, it changes whenever from you going from when it was just a hobby. And so even though I had all these ideas and stuff in mind, I never really thought or put as much effort to it as far as like making it look nice and presentable for people. So I said, okay, let me turn it up a notch. So we've already been cooking and baking for a good amount of time. So we already know that the flavor and stuff is there. Now it's about working on making it look nice. And even when you're doing that, you got to take baby steps. People want to try to make feel as if things are off or whatever because you don't look like a perfectionist type of thing up front. But people don't talk about the starting process. So many people want to tell you that you should be doing this and that, but many people don't even start. And some people that have gotten things going, they don't take themselves back to the shoes that they were in whenever they were trying to get things rolling. And so as you're continuing to build and share your story, it's going to take some time. So aside from that, got all the cups and everything that I needed and all that, and man, we sold out to the point to where my first day I had to leave early so I could make desserts for the next day. So that was fire. And then the second event that I did, shout out to my guy Jared. It was a wellness event that he hosted, and that one was where I was just like, hey, let me kind of just mimic the same model, and I was able to really focus in on my vegan desserts as well there too, and people loved it, man. So that was a super dope event too, and that was like a couple months later, but I'd already been in the zone, so that just allowed me to see that like, man, DeMarcus, like you've already known that you have some stuff, but like you see the potential and you see like how much you see how much leverage you have, and you see that this is going to take off eventually. Like this is going to be like a cakewalk for you. Not like it's going to be easy, but it's like, no pun intended, but you've already been putting in the systems over time. And now it's just about you bringing it full circle, using your personality and just creating something so dope that people can't get enough of. And so, yeah, like it's going to be obviously a process as far as continuing to build a brand. But when I say a cakewalk, it's like for the basic things that many people don't have in regards to being able to connect with people, being able just to be outgoing, being able to create something that's just like fulfilling for different types of audiences. Like that's something I've been able to really focus on. Um, so that was that in regards to a multifaceted I was able to expand on, and then yeah, finding security work. So shout out to my guy Eric. Um, he was in New York. Just had just gotten here. He was just trying to figure out some ways to get some employment. And then he was like, "Hey man, I'm doing security work. I'm going to connect you um, with the manager for the company that I'm with." And I appreciate people like this. It's just like that where it's not, hey, just let me know and I'm gonna connect with you, boom, boom, and that they don't follow through. Man, this dude, he put me on the email thread with the person that was like the director of the site and plugged in my resume. And then within a couple of days, the person was like, "Hey, Demarcus, we're looking for good quality people. I'll have my HR person reach out to you." So I'm like, man, this is dope. Like, even if that didn't happen, the fact that he was willing to go ahead and put in that referral or however and do the work like that, that's dope. 'Cause that's the same way in which I would move. It's like versus just telling somebody, "Hey, I can plug you in." Like people don't do that anymore. Where it's like, "Hey, like I'm going to make it work and I'm going to try to figure out something," um, or I'm just going to be about the action versus just talking. So that was dope, and I appreciate him for that. And so ended up um, going through the security company, a different one at the time than I'm currently at, but was able to get on with that. And they had like a probation period where you had to get your license by, and so it was kind of crazy, but like had a really good smooth situation. Was working at the I forget what was that food place that it's not an Aldi. Let me see. I want to research this like while I'm talking to y'all. Uh, so they had it was a Burlington that's downstairs and a Lidl, that's what it was. So Burlington downstairs, and for the few months that I was there, like that's all that was there because they were doing construction upstairs, and then they added in a Lidl. So towards like my last like few weeks there, the Lidl was popping, so you just had like a lot of people that was coming in and out. But my job was real chill. I was really just sitting in a chair upstairs and just making sure that like kids weren't in the back corner smoking and people just weren't being reckless. So that was real chill. Like my hours was like from 4 to what's it, 4 to 9, I believe. Let's see. I'm working 5 days a week. Maybe like 4 to 9. I can't remember, but and I was doing that 5 days a week, and so I was doing that Tuesday to Saturday, and that was smooth. Even though it was like kind of like prime times, when events and stuff are going on. I said, man, I'm focused on trying to like get some money in my pocket. So was doing that, and a big thing, that I've told y'all that I'll focus on this year was losing a lot of weight. So I was like, okay, how can I make sure that I'm really taking advantage of this time that I have and actually use that to my advantage? So what I would do is I'd be working out, get my workouts before work, and then I would make sure that I get to 10K steps while I was working. So by the time that my shift was over, like I had to make sure that I was hitting 10K. If I didn't, I had to make sure I was getting damn close because I would want to make sure that the steps that I would have as far as my commute home would hit that 10K. But I was averaging between like 10 to 12, sometimes 13,000 steps a day when I was working. And so that was huge because for me, I'm not someone that can just sit down the whole time. And this is where I talk about being dauntless because many times like we can get kind of stuck in just like what's not going right or what we feel is just like not flowing in a certain type of direction at that particular moment. But we don't look at like how can I utilize things to my advantage. And that's where it also goes into how I started to see the security work. So first starting off with the weight, like I'm like, this is an easy way for me to allow the shift to go by because one, I'm literally sitting by myself. Unless I go downstairs and holler at the Burlington people, like that's really short. But I'm gonna be upstairs sitting in a chair for 5 hours. So what better way can I actually get this shift over? Shift over. It sounds like I said shit. get this shift over than walking. And so what I did was I just had a routine, and people would recognize me for that too. So I'd be in there walking and literally just get my steps in. I would go up and down the stairs sometimes as well too, but like that was keeping me active. And what I would do is like walk for like 30 minutes. First, I would come into my job and I'd sit there for like the first hour, just kind of just being cool, calm. And then I'd walk in like 30 to 40 minute increments. And then I get some steps in and just chill, be on my phone for a little bit. But the reception and stuff really wasn't that good in there. So that's all I was really doing, mingling with people. But that helped me to stay active. And that was good because it was being able to go in to work alongside with the process that I already had. So sometimes it's like when you can utilize your environment and make it layer on top of something that you're already doing, that's going to take it to the next level. Versus like when I ended up stop working for that security company, I was still working out and stuff, but I wasn't getting as many steps. Now, because my metabolism and stuff was already high, I was still burning weight. But because of those constant steps and that constant movement, in addition to the workouts and stuff that I was already doing, plus the diet that I had, it was flowing so much easier because I was always active. And so now that I'm back on that, um, it makes it feel good because even if there's days where you say you might eat a little bit crazy, you're constantly active like that. One, your mind's going to be like, okay, like we ain't even really got to eat anything today. So then you're going to be stacking those days, and because you're always burning calories. Like honestly, you can really eat how you want to, and it won't even really affect you. So those days I was eating pizza and stuff like that, but I make it a point to be able to burn all that off. So even if it may not necessarily show on the stomach or on the scale, like my hips and stuff, like um, I could see where I was losing weight in my pants and all that type of stuff. So really within about a month and some change, from my belt loop, I could only fit like my like there's like I think there's like 5 or 6 different holes on the belt. I could only get my pants into like the second or third loop. By the time like a month or so hit, I was already at the fifth loop. So I was already losing weight just by continuing to stay active. But I created a routine for myself where I was able just to make it even better for me. And sometimes when you're losing weight and when you're going through that process, it can be hard because you're thinking about like, dang, I got to make sure that I'm staying on the elliptical or the treadmill for a certain amount of hours throughout the week. But when you can kind of like already use your lifestyle and find a routine um, that can complement what you're already doing, that makes losing weight so much easier. So I'm getting off track a bit from talking about the multifaceted security work, but I wanted to add that in there. So, anyways, the company they had this random audit where they were removing everybody that didn't have their security license. But I'm like, y'all gave me 90 days to get it to get the license, and so I had actually planned to get it like a few weeks before that period hit. The reason being is because I had like hella bills, being broke because of layoffs, and even though my family was helping me, like also at the same time, it's like they have their own stuff that's going on. So they're really like going out of their way to look out for me when they got their own stuff too. So it's like, man. So I'm like, man, I don't even want to spend as much money on this because I'm also anticipating I'm gonna go ahead and get a corporate job by this time. So I ain't even really gonna need the security shit. Well, life will hit you. So unfortunately, even though I'm going through hella interviews and everything like that, I'm having tons of interviews. Nothing's working. I'm thinking that I'm getting closer. I'm getting let down, getting ghosted. So I'm really thinking that security is going to be something I could just have for a short period of time, and I ain't even going to need it anyway. So that's why I held off on the license, and I'm like, why spend $300 or $400 when it's not going to be something that's long term? Well, ended up getting they had like an audit, and then they just ended up letting all the people go that didn't have a license. So I'm like, bro, this is crazy. So I'm still thinking that I'm going to be able to get a corporate job, even though I just got let go as far as from this company. Well, life continues to move. So the interviews are still going in the same type of way. Life is still just kind of like weird because like you're thinking that you're getting closer to the final stages and everything, but like I'm telling you, the markets are bullshit. Like it's just not how people are describing it. And so for me, I said, man, you know what? I ain't really got as much money. And I found a way to go ahead and pay with the money that I had to go ahead and just get my license. So I said, man, let me just go ahead and get the license. And my mom, she was like, Marcus, like, if it's something like getting your license, you could have just like tried to let us know. We were like did what we could for that. Like that's something that you would need, you know what I'm saying, versus you having to wait for it. I'm like, you're right. Like I'm someone where it's like, and I got to work on this. I may not go ahead and get something that's needed if I have like a kind of like a period where I can get it, because if I'm looking at some other alternatives, I'm just like, hey, I may not necessarily need this. But where both of my parents are right, like they're folks where they're like, man, just go ahead and get it done versus having to hold it off in case you may need it. And so that's something where they both can agree on that um, I have to, I've had to get better with over time, and I'm not the best at. But I do appreciate them for reiterating that, because now that I've gotten the license, so I went through the process of getting my security license, right? And during that process, shout out to my guy Chris that does the Black Men's Health Festival. He knew a guy, my guy Davu, that actually is the teacher for the security classes. So I went through this company called Last Year Security, and they do the whole process for you. So they submit your fingerprints, they give you the certificates and everything. So typically, when you're going to get your security license, there's different places that can do it. But if you're going through like the sites that they have on the New York.gov, or really any security sites that they may have online. Typically, you got to be the one where you got to go send off your information, you got to fax, you got to do all that. But you can find some of these like local security training facilities, and they'll go ahead and take care of the full process for you. So yeah, you may pay like an extra $100, but that's better with them taking care of everything and you getting it done faster without you having to like wait and something mess up. So the good thing about it is too, for most companies, when you're able to show your certificate that we were able to show a receipt that you already paid for your classes, and when you're able to show that you had your fingerprinting done, most companies or some companies will allow you to go ahead and start work because you've already shown that you've started the process, but you just got to wait until you complete um, some of your courses. And also too, I believe most of them are cool with you completing, I believe, your 8 hour course, and then eventually you can complete your 16-hour course. But you got to do it within a certain type of period. But for me, I went ahead and because I had the stuff going on with the other company, and then that ended. I was like, man, I need to try to find some work, and so um, I've been through periods as far as for unemployment. Like I've had unemployment a couple of times. Like when I was back in Kentucky a few years ago, when things happened with work, I went through unemployment a bit during the COVID period, and then I also went through unemployment, with this during this period as well too. So I'm not afraid to say that. Like that's what it's for, especially when you're going through ups and downs. So going through unemployment, I had that actually was going through that before I got the security work. But when you work part-time hours, you're still able to get a small bit of unemployment on top of that. So I had that going for a bit, but they ended up having some issues there. So literally just had like a little bit of money that I did, and then I was just trying to figure out ways to get some money. So I had a couple of those events that I did for my food brand. I got a little bit of change, but it wasn't nothing like crazy. But it was still dope for me to be able to see that I was able to pocket like a few $100. Like to be able to pocket $300 to $500 off of events, like that's still something, right? And so anyways, going through the security process, I did my 16-hour course and my 8 hour, and then I got my fingerprints and stuff done. Like I said, I was walking down from Flatbush and Parkside down to Church Ave, further down, walking multiple miles and things just to get it in. Like, and that's been the biggest thing for me during this time of me living on my own in New York, and just the season that I've been in. I've had to like focus on taking the train and not using Ubers and stuff like that because stuff's expensive. Like I haven't had the money for it, but I'm so happy and so appreciative and so grateful for the seasons that I've been in, because without that, I wouldn't have been able to experience the city like I have. Like when I say that I've been able to experience New York for real, like I've been on the ground, my boy. Like different boroughs, you know what I'm saying? Just different things that I've got to experience, meeting different types of people. I was in Harlem for a good amount of time, yeah, like, I was just, yeah, I've just been in different places, like, dating someone in that area, so I got a chance to experience Harlem a good amount. Just being able just to be like, as far as going to different places when it came to checking out on different types of jobs, going to Queens, going to just different areas. Like I've just been on the ground, right? Like I've just and just during this season of my life, like, doing uncomfortable things, like I said, having to take the train to different types of areas that I may not typically go to, but stopping at the wrong stops. You know what I'm saying? But like getting out and then you having to walk a good amount of time because you having to walk a good distance because you can't rely on an Uber. Like that just it puts a different type of it instills a different type of energy in you, a different type of go getter mentality. Like if I got to be somewhere by 2 p.m. and then I leave out at 12 or 12:30, but then I'm at the wrong stop, then I might be like, it says, hey, you got to have a 20-minute walk or 25-minute walk, and you got to get there versus you taking a 10-minute Uber that's going to cost you $30. The season that I'm in, I got to take that 25-minute walk. But then I'm getting to see different parts of the city. So then whenever I leave the event or whatever or appointment that I'm going to, I'm like, dang, okay, I remember what was over here. Dang, I'm seeing a different part of New York that I probably would have never even come across because with the Uber, I'm just going to my specific location and that's it. So again, I'll explain more about that in future episodes. But just through like yeah, different stuff. And even like when you're dating too, like you get a chance because you're on the trains and you're seeing different parts of the city, you get a chance to see different areas and different types of stuff that you want to do that you may have not typically ran into. So that was a whole experience as well. But going back to security, um, ended up getting my license, and so I have a new company that I'm with now, and then yeah, so that's how I kind of went through that process. And so with the company now, like I have a schedule of work where I work 2 to 8, so overnight shifts. And they had some options to be able to do evening shifts, but for my mentality, I said, man, let me go ahead and work this overnight shift because one, I'm a night owl as it is, but like if I can do that during the day, I could still apply to different corporate roles. It's probably going to be where I'm going to be a bit tired, if I'm getting off until I'm getting adjusted. Hey, I can maybe schedule an interview. Um, Around 10 or something. So I have like a couple hours between my hour commute of getting home. That'll be around 9 and some change. And then I can maybe get some food or something to keep myself up and then have an interview at 10. Or if I want to get some rest and I got an interview at like 2, 3, or 4, I can get a good amount of sleep in and then I'll be ready to go. And then I can take another nap or whatever after. Or knowing me, I'll probably end up being up. So my new schedule, like I said, it's smooth. I have this cubicle that I'm in, and I'm really just in there just chilling. And then I got to make sure each hour that I'm just walking around to make sure there's no homeless folks or people just on the sides of the building. And then just checking in with the front, checking in with the guards to make sure everything is good. But with that, it's so smooth. And I'm looking at it now, like I told y'all before, with my guy, he was telling me, like, my guy Davu, he said, man, oftentimes when you're working for the security companies, they're going to pay you at a certain type of rate. But look at this as a way for you to be able to expand on your brand and your business. You can eventually get to a point to where you're able to do different types of events when people are in the city. Everybody needs security. So don't just look at this as just another job. Look at it as like a business. So my mind state was already thinking 1099s and thinking business as it was. So just hearing him reiterate that, that put it in a different type of mind frame for me. Because oftentimes too, when you're trying to get to certain events, security is an easy way to get there. So I'm thinking about like, how can I connect with certain type of people? Um, Eventually, I'm gonna get to a point to where just by having a license, hey, so if I want to do something on the weekend, I could pick up a few shifts, a few hours, got my own rates. I have write-offs that I can add in for my brand. So that's how I got into security work. That's kind of how my multifacets have played in for me during this period of or this season of just change, being dauntless and everything like that. Um, yeah, like I said, just when it comes to friends, and just those changes, when it comes to dating and relationships, things that I've experienced there as well too during this time. When it comes to just, family stuff that has went on, people passing, my granddad passing, and just other things that have went on. Like there's been a lot of things and a lot of different transitions and stuff that I've had within my life. And so, I told y'all, like, when it comes to, like, dating and relationships, I don't like to get into that too much. Family and stuff, I don't like to get into that too much. Maybe I'll talk about that a bit more on some of the future podcasts. But I think sometimes, like, getting fully deep into that stuff, it can add in a layer of, like, people giving opinions, people just getting all up into your business, and that's not what this is about. Like, I'm not looking for a place of just sympathy and just people just being all up in my stuff. Like, I like being able to share aspects of my life, but sometimes things happen in certain type of ways, and that's what it is. Like, I'm not looking for people to go back and talk about somebody that I was dating and figuring out who that, like, that's not what this is about. This is about me sharing my life and just talking about, like, things that I've experienced, and I'll explain stories and I'll share different things that I've went through. But this is a place to be, just gossiping and talking about people and stuff like that. Like, I've had different experiences in life, and there's people that have treated me certain types of ways that was wrong, and there's things that were also good about certain situations. But at the end of the day, the point of this podcast is to be able to share with people about, like, how you can grow and develop within yourself, how you can focus on being a newer version. How, hey, if you go through experiences where people are treating you a certain type of way, like, you're not held to that. Like, we're not focused on being bitter for forever. We're not focused on being bitter at all. We're focused on being able to embrace being misunderstood, embrace our value, and just embrace all these different parts of our lives that make us who we are. And oftentimes you've got to go through certain experiences, and you have to go through different obstacles in life to be able to develop and become who you are. And that's going to come with ups and downs. I'm someone that has been let down by people a good amount of times. I'm someone that has been treated by people in odd ways a good amount of times, but I also have been treated by people in dope ways. Even some people that have treated me wrong. There's been times where they have shown some positivity, but there's been people in my life that have, like, continued to show up in positive ways that haven't done me like that. So I put time and energy into those people, the people that truly value me and that I value as well too. Those are the ones that I'm growing with, the people that allow me to show up as DeMarcus, and the people that truly love who DeMarcus stands for and represents, and the people that allow me to mess up in life and allow me to have my mistakes, and allow me to not be perfect, and are willing to grow with me. Those are the people that make life feel so fulfilling and dope. And at the end of the day, we're all growing, trying to be better people. But there's just some things that you won't tolerate, and there's some things that you may tolerate. But the biggest thing is us being valued within ourselves and continuing just to fight the good fight. So yeah, this was just explaining about my multifacets, getting into security work, and just really kind of giving y'all some rundowns of just, like, the season that I've been in and how that's been like, but my mentality and how I've just thought about things in a different type of way. But as I keep saying time and time again, from an emotional and spiritual standpoint, with all the different things that I went through during this season, I've been at the best place ever there. And it's something I'm continuing to expand on and grow on. And the craziest thing is, like, this season has been if you were looking at it from the outside in, if I would explain to you about all the things that I've experienced, it would give you a reason to not show up for yourself. It would give you a reason to not want to lose weight. It would give you a reason to not want to go out and date anymore, or to want to take a step back on dating. It would give you a reason to want to feel like life is kind of just um, all over the place, and that you should give up and just want to move back home, or just not even fight to live somewhere longer. It would give you a reason to feel as if, like, you shouldn't trust people, or want certain people around. It would give you a reason to feel bitter, angry, frustrated. But for me, that's the total opposite, because this has allowed me to show up for me, and it's allowed me to understand what it means to be in control. Because all the things that I've done, many people don't even do that whenever things are good. So the fact that I've been able to show up for me when things have just been rocky, man, I'm so appreciative for it. And the only thing that's I'm looking forward to changing is my financial status. And so we're working towards that. But I've been able to feel so fulfilled in life. Shout out to the connections and stuff that I have that have allowed me to be able to be a part of a lot of things and events, and be able to go places where I haven't necessarily had to rely on my dollars. But man, this season that I've been in, many people. won't see it. Many people will never hear about it. Only a few people have. And for those ones that have tapped in and those ones that know, like it ain't nothing to share. I mean, it's not nothing for me to not share. Like it's a part of me that's being able to build me, and I've been able to have very fruitful conversations. And the even more beautiful thing is for the real ones, like the true real ones that I'm tapping in with, they going through similar, maybe even crazier life situations. We're able to grow and develop together, and everybody's doing it from a faith standpoint. Like we all have hurdles in life, we all have different avenues that hit us at certain points, but all my people are faith driven. There's points where people can fall in and out of their faith. I've had it happen, but it's honestly it's not that you ever lose it. It just may sometimes like that priority may slip, but everybody's faith driven and everybody is tying themselves back to the creator. And we all have our vices. We all have stuff that we do, have done and everything like that, but we're nobody's trying to be my real people, you're not trying to be perfect. And I'm so blessed that people allow me to show up for me. And even as I've grown as an individual, at times where I felt frustrated and felt that I didn't have the support and stuff there, I'm starting to get it more over time because DeMarcus is leaning into itself. DeMarcus is being in control of him, and DeMarcus is focusing on prioritizing him. When you prioritize everybody else and you're thinking about yourself last, you don't even know like what you need at times. You don't even know where to start. You don't even know how to feel fulfilled in many moments because fulfillment is honestly focused on the outside piece. But because I've really taken a lot of time over the years, but I've sharpened it finally now, um, I just feel so happy with where I'm going, and I don't feel like um, I don't feel like I'm missing out because I don't have wife and kids yet, or because I'm not in a relationship at this current moment. Like no, like I feel smooth, like I feel good, like I feel um, very fulfilled, and I feel happy that I'm allowing myself to step outside of my comfort zone, and I'm working on creating the lifestyle for me because I've already been doing that. I've been able to do so many dope things without having bread in my pocket for real. And honestly, the times where you ain't got it and you still showing up for yourself and making it happen, those are some of the best moments because you're not relying on everything else to make a situation happen. You're relying on you. You ain't got nothing to lose. So, man, that's a bit of just about my story, where I've been at. Obviously for episodes and things, depending on the time they can release later or whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's not even about that. It's about being able to share with people the life of a multifaceted, ups and downs, hurdles, and just being able to share with people just about like the growing and the evolution and how you can just like feel fulfilled within the person that you're becoming and loving who you're becoming. So my motto is promote diligence. It's the easy, earnest way to get things done and being able just to feel happy and fulfilled with who you are. Love being misunderstood. Love being someone that thinks different and moves different. And love evolving into being your best self. So it's your boy DeMarcus, man. I've said a lot. I missed out on anything. I will say it in the next episode. And again, another 10 minute. I'm gonna keep saying this. Another 10-minute episode that turned into 45 minutes. One thing your boy can do is talk. I can talk my ass off, but I know that I have value in what I'm saying. So it's your boy DeMarcus, man. Make sure you tap in on the socials. That man Marco, matching up with Marco on Instagram and TikTok. And then the YouTube page is the multifacets of DeMarcus. And this is the life of a multifacet. I'm out of here. Peace.